Welcome, my dear friends. Today, we're diving into a dramatic, mysterious, and captivating story about Audie Murphy, the war hero and Hollywood star. Are you curious? At the age of 45, he openly shared about the 5 people who caused him the most unease in his heart. This isn't a simple tale. It's an emotional journey filled with deep conflicts and valuable lessons. Let's explore together. Ladies and gentlemen, Audie Murphy wasn't just an actor. He was a true hero, awarded the Medal of Honor for his courage in World War II. But behind the glamour, he carried hidden struggles and emotional scars. Today, we'll uncover the 5 people who troubled him: 2 talented directors, a fellow actor, and 2 ordinary individuals. Their conflicts weren't mere disagreements. They were clashes that touched his pride and values. Are you ready? Let's begin. First, let's travel back to the 1960s. Hollywood was the epicenter of glitz, where stage lights illuminated dreams. Westerns and war films dominated the screens, drawing millions of viewers. Audie Murphy, with his youthful face, resolute eyes, and warm smile, was one of the brightest stars. But, my friends, his life wasn't all glory and fame. Audie was born into a poor family in Kingston, Texas, in 1925. He grew up in hardship, working tirelessly from a young age to help his mother raise 9 siblings. When World War II broke out, he enlisted at just 17 despite being initially rejected for his small stature. But his courage proved everyone wrong. He once single-handedly held off an entire German platoon, saving his comrades and becoming a symbol of bravery. After the war, Hollywood embraced him, turning him into a star with To Hell and Back, a film based on his own story. Did you know? Despite his stardom, Audie remained humble. He didn't like boasting about his Medal of Honor or wartime feats. He wanted to be judged for his work, not his past. But not everyone understood the real Audie. The 5 people on today's list sparked conflicts he could never forget. They touched the core of his values: respect, honesty, and kindness. Let's meet them, starting with a renowned director. Now, let me tell you about the first person, director Anthony Mann. He was a master of westerns, with classics like Winchester 73 and The Man from Laramie. Mann and Audie collaborated on Cimarron in 1960, an epic film about the Oklahoma land rush. It was expected to be a masterpiece, but, dear friends, it turned into a nightmare for Audie. Audie felt Mann was overly domineering and disrespectful. Mann wanted Audie to act in a rigid, emotionless way to fit his vision. As a war veteran, Audie demanded authenticity. He wanted his character to be strong, reflecting the spirit of the soldiers he fought alongside. But Mann insisted on a softer, more approachable performance to appeal to mainstream audiences. Tensions erupted early on the set. Once, Mann made Audie repeat a scene 15 times just because he didn't like the way Audie looked at the camera. Though patient, Audie felt insulted. He suggested script changes to deepen his character, but Mann dismissed him, saying, "You're just an actor, not a director." Those words cut deeply into Audie's pride. The conflict escalated when Mann publicly criticized Audie in front of the entire crew. During a shoot, Mann shouted, "You're a war hero, but you can't act." Audie was stunned. He had sacrificed so much for his country, and now a director was belittling his talent. Audie stayed silent, but his friends said he left the set in a heavy mood. He felt stifled, unable to express his true self. Remember this? Though Cimarron was well received by audiences, Audie was never satisfied. He confided to friends that working with Mann was like walking through hell. On another occasion, Mann even asked Audie to change his walk, saying it was too military. Audie, proud of his soldier's past, felt deeply offended. That's why Anthony Mann tops this list. But the story doesn't end here. Let's move to the next person. Next, we'll talk about another director, Don Siegel, known for action hits like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Audie and Siegel worked together on The Gun Runners in 1958, a film about smuggling in the Caribbean. It had the potential to be a major work, but, ladies and gentlemen, their conflicts shattered all hopes. Audie wanted his character to be tough, like the soldiers he knew. He suggested adding action scenes to showcase grit, like a one-on-one showdown or a daring chase. But Siegel had a different vision. He wanted a softer, more relatable character to attract family audiences. When Audie shared his ideas, Siegel frequently interrupted, saying, "I know better. Just follow my lead." The tension peaked when Siegel revised the script without consulting Audie. In a key scene, Audie's character was rewritten to appear weak, even begging the enemy. Audie objected strongly, saying it didn't suit the character or himself. But Siegel yelled, "Just act, don't think." Those words were like a slap to Audie's pride. He had faced enemies on the battlefield, yet now a director was dismissing him. Curious? The conflict didn't stop there. Once, Siegel demanded Audie film a crying scene, though the original script had no such moment. Audie refused, saying his character wasn't the type to cry easily. Siegel, furious, called Audie unprofessional. After this, Audie felt like a puppet on set. He worked under constant stress, always feeling controlled. Despite The Gun Runners' box office success, Audie couldn't forget the disrespect. He refused all future projects involving Siegel. Once, he told friends, "I'd rather quit acting than work with someone like Siegel." Siegel's lack of respect and heavy-handedness left a lasting wound in Audie's heart. That's why Don Siegel is on this list. Now, we come to a Hollywood star, actor Hugh O'Brien. Remember the series, The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp? Hugh was its star, famous for playing Sheriff Wyatt Earp. He was a familiar face, but to Audie, Hugh was insufferable, and their conflict ran deep. Audie and Hugh often crossed paths at Hollywood events, from parties to award ceremonies. Audie found Hugh arrogant. He felt Hugh loved bragging about his success, from his iconic roles to his awards. As a humble man, Audie disliked this. He once said, "I don't need anyone reminding me I'm a hero. I just want to be treated fairly." Their biggest clash happened at a Los Angeles party in 1963. After a few drinks, Hugh mocked Audie in front of everyone. He said, "Audie, you're only good for soldier roles. You'll never be a real star like me." Audie was stunned. The crowd started whispering, and Audie felt humiliated among his peers. He kept his composure, smiled, and left, but his pride was wounded. Did you know the conflict didn't end there? At a charity event, Hugh deliberately ignored Audie when they were introduced together. Hugh jokingly told the press, "I don't need to stand next to a hero to shine." The comment spread quickly, making Audie feel belittled. He didn't retaliate, but he never forgot Hugh's disrespect. After these incidents, Audie declined any invitations to events with Hugh. When a producer suggested they co-star in a film, Audie flatly refused, saying, "I don't work with arrogant people." Hugh O'Brien's pride in public taunts left a deep scar in Audie's heart. That's why Hugh is on this list. Now, let's shift to a different kind of story, one outside Hollywood. This is about John Doe. An ordinary man mentioned it happened one night in 1965 at a California bar. Audie was unwinding after a long day, chatting with friends and sipping whiskey. But My friends, the peaceful evening turned into a nightmare. John Doe, a drunken stranger, approached Audie. He began insulting Audie, calling him a fake hero. John mocked Audie's roles, saying he was just a second-rate actor living off war fame. When Audie tried to ignore him, John grew more aggressive. He shouted, "Who do you think you are? A hero? You're nothing." He even threw a beer glass at Audie, shocking everyone in the bar. Can you imagine? Audie, who faced enemies in battle, was now humiliated by a stranger. The bar fell silent, all eyes on Audie. He stayed calm, stood up, paid his bill, and left. But his friend said he was trembling with anger. He wasn't mad at the words, but at the disrespect toward what he had sacrificed for his country. The conflict didn't end there. Days later, Audie heard John Doe was bragging about confronting him at the bar. Doe spread false stories, claiming Audie was scared and ran away. These rumors deepened Audie's disappointment. He didn't seek revenge, but he told friends, "I can forgive an enemy, but not ignorance." John Doe, though just a passerby, left a wound in Audie's heart. That's why he's on this list. Finally, we'll talk about Mary Smith, a dog trainer. You might be surprised, but this story is unique and deeply emotional. Audie loved animals, especially dogs. He had a collie named Rusty, a loyal companion who helped him cope with Hollywood's stresses. Rusty was his comfort, always by his side as he battled war memories. Audie hired Mary Smith to train Rusty. He wanted Rusty to be smarter and obedient, but still loved. But, dear friends, conflict arose from the start. Audie felt Mary was too harsh. He saw her yell at Rusty when the dog didn't follow commands. Once, Audie witnessed Mary yank Rusty's leash so hard that he yelped in pain. Audie immediately stepped in, demanding she stop. But Mary wouldn't listen. She argued it was a professional training method and that Audie knew nothing about dogs. Audie, furious, said, "Dogs aren't objects for you to mistreat." The conflict peaked when Mary refused to apologize and called Audie too soft with animals. Those words struck at Audie's love for animals, a core part of who he was. Remember, the issue wasn't just one incident. Audie discovered Mary once left Rusty in the hot sun for hours without water, claiming it was discipline training. Audie couldn't tolerate it. He fired Mary the next day and trained Rusty himself. He spent hours playing and teaching Rusty, who became an even more loyal friend. Audie once said, "I can't trust anyone who mistreats animals. They have no heart." Mary Smith, though just a trainer, left a bad mark on Audie. Her lack of compassion and actions were unforgivable to him. That's why Mary Smith is the final name on this list. My dear friends, we've just explored the 5 people who troubled Audie Murphy. But why did he feel this way? Audie was a sincere man with clear values. He cherished respect, honesty, and kindness. The conflicts with these 5 weren't just disagreements. They were wounds that touched his pride and beliefs. Anthony Mann and Don Siegel made Audie feel constrained. They didn't let him express his talent and even insulted him in front of crews. Hugh O'Brien hurt him with arrogance and public mockery, humiliating him among peers. John Doe insulted his heroic past, something Audie never boasted about, and spread false rumors. Mary Smith struck at his love for animals, a vital part of him, with cruelty and lack of empathy. Curious, despite these conflicts, Audie didn't hold grudges. He once said, "I don't want to hate anyone, but I can't forget those who disrespect me." This list was his way of expressing his values. He wanted to be treated fairly, as he treated others. These painful conflicts highlighted the real Audie, a strong yet kind man. What's compelling? Audie Murphy wasn't just a star or hero. He was a symbol of resilience. On the battlefield, he faced death, was wounded multiple times, yet kept fighting. In life, he faced other challenges, Hollywood rivalries, criticism and personal pain, but he always kept a kind heart. Did you know? Audie struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, after the war. He shared about sleepless nights and nightmares of battle. Memories of fallen comrades haunted him, but instead of breaking, he channeled his pain into his roles, bringing a soldier's authenticity to characters and touching audiences' hearts. Audie wrote an autobiography, To Hell and Back, about his war experiences. The book wasn't just about war, it was about compassion. He wanted people to understand that life is a battle, but we can win with heart. The conflicts with Mann, Siegel, Hugh, John Doe, and Mary Smith were just a small part of his larger story. They showed what he valued most, respect and kindness. Remember, Audie wasn't just an actor. He was a poet, writing verses about life, love, and pain. Though lesser known, his poetry was how he expressed emotions. He once wrote, "I'm not afraid of the dark, but I fear cold hearts." The people on this list, in their own ways, brought the coldness Audie couldn't accept. Ladies and gentlemen, Audie Murphy's story isn't just about conflicts. It's about how he lived, overcame challenges, and held fast to his values. He teaches us that respect is paramount. Whether a famous director, a Hollywood star, or a dog trainer, everyone should treat others with kindness. Remember, Audie starred in over 40 films, from war dramas like The Red Badge of Courage to westerns like The Unforgiven. Each role bore his mark, strength, authenticity, and depth. He also gave back to the community, supporting charities and helping veterans. His life proves we can overcome hardship and live meaningfully. What's fascinating? Audie didn't want to be remembered as a hero. He wanted to be remembered as a good person. That's why he sought sincerity in relationships. When Mann, Siegel, Hugh, John Doe, or Mary Smith failed to offer it, he was disappointed. But he didn't let these conflicts dim his light. He kept living, contributing, and leaving a lasting legacy. Curious? Despite PTSD and Hollywood pressures, Audie never stopped seeking meaning in life. He once said, "Life is like a battle. You have to fight, but don't forget to love." The conflicts on this list, though painful, helped him grow. They reminded him that kindness and respect are non-negotiable values. My dear friends, we've uncovered a lesser-known side of Audie Murphy. He wasn't just a battlefield hero or a silver screen star. He was a man with deep emotions, clear values, and a kind heart. The 5 people on this list, Anthony Mann, Don Siegel, Hugh O'Brien, John Doe, and Mary Smith, caused conflicts he couldn't forget. These weren't just disagreements. They were challenges that touched his pride and beliefs. But, dear friends, Audie's story doesn't end with conflicts. He lived a meaningful life, leaving an enduring legacy. He reminds us that no matter how tough life gets, we can choose to live kindly. He teaches us that respect and kindness are timeless values, no matter who we are. Thank you for listening to this story. What do you think of Audie Murphy? Share your thoughts. Don't forget to follow for more captivating tales. Wishing you a wonderful day. My dear friends, see you next time.